Lady.
There you go. Awesome.
For 2023. How's it going, guys?
It's great. How's it going with you guys?
I gotta get
already January 11th.
I know. Can you believe it? We're already into 2023.
How did that happen?
Happy New Year, everybody. Merry New Year is how we say it on IoT Coffee Talk, right?
Yes, it is. You know.
Hey. Yeah.
I'm hearing some static. I don't know if it's Mike. There you go. Then it went away.
Oh, it went away? Yeah. You know, see, this is really obnoxious because it blocks my Mac.
Yes.
And the Mac in the background is a much better aesthetic. And I have Jimi Hendrix right there. And then that's Eddie Van Halen. You know, instead of having that in my backdrop, I have this gigantic microphone in the foreground. So it kind of sucks. Yeah. Hey, you know, we got to be broadcast quality like we were last week.
You know what? Last week, after I was like, you know what? We shouldn't even ship that one. The audio quality was so horrible on that one.
Yeah. But you know what?
If we had 6G, it would have been better.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, for sure. No, actually, if we had 2G, it would have been better.
That's true. 2G would have been better, actually. You're right.
But it was voice, right?
But no video. Yeah.
Yeah, we could have switched off video and talk.
Yeah.
But see that's the thing is the real stuff is gritty. Real stuff is gritty. Manufactured stuff is polished, you know, and we're totally.
He's going to rationalize the horrible quality of the audio from each week by saying, "Well, it's gritty. People want that. They want that grit to make it real." You know, I totally get it.
Yes. I mean, that's how we sell the show. Which, by the way,
it's funny that the Merry New Year thing, because I guess I was watching the Golden Globes last night, and Eddie Murphy got the Cecil D. DeMille Lifetime Achievement Award. And so they were showing you, like you always do, the montage of all the movies that you'd been in. Yeah. And so you absolutely had that scene with Eddie Murphy on the train, you know, and so that was great. Hey, Bill.
Oh, hey, Bill. What's up, man?
Yes, there's plenty, you know.
There's plenty, you know, beef jerky.
Will you be heading to the city of brotherly love?
See, I'm telling you, we are going. I don't know. We are going to start a Trading Places revival. It's going to be. I'm telling you, like I said last week, it's going to be the thing.
Yeah,
great movie. It's a great movie. It's funny. And when did it come out? In like 80 something?
87.
Like all the great things in life, it came out in the
87.
80s.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of folks who have never seen it, but you know, it's a really great movie, right? It's great social economic commentary. If you think about it,
I made my kids watch it.
Yeah,
I made my kids watch all the 80s movies. Weird Science.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you guys watch them back then?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I wasn't here. I grew up in Romania. You know, and like in the 80s, I was making my first trip to the German Democratic Republic.
Wow.
First trip to Berlin when I was in, young high school.
Oh, wow.
It was amazing. And it was the East Berlin. It was amazing.
Wow. That's pretty wild.
Yeah. I mean, don't feel bad. I mean, I don't know the lyrics to Auld Lang Syne. So, you know, we all have like little cultural gaps here and there. We can't be entirely worldly people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But But you know what's amazing when you talk about 80s music,
Yeah.
I'm totally with you. Because, music was widespread and it was difficult to block it. Even in Eastern Europe, we didn't have access to the music you had here, but it was impossible to totally block it. We had various outlets, illegal outlets, Radio Free Europe, Voice of America, BBC. But when it comes to movies, it's a different story.
Yeah.
You probably have a whole book worth of stuff to write about growing up on the other side of the Iron Curtain.
Yeah. Actually, I do lots of things to write about. You're right.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to pause and gather all that.
Maybe you should, or record your voice, or as you think of things, on your phone or whatever, because a lot of people, obviously in America, have no idea what it was like to be on that side of the curtain, right?
Yeah, right. And the, I don't want to take too much time with this, but I would say the interesting thing with my life there is that, my family had been persecuted and ever since the end of World War II. And my dad had been in prison. My grandfather was in prison and died in prison. My family became very, I wouldn't say poor, but all their assets were confiscated. It's just long story. Lots of persecution after persecution. And then I grew up with a mother who, saw the benefits of adhering to the Communist Party, even though she was not a believer. But she said, you need to be part of the organization because you'll never have a chance for a job.
Yeah.
And a father who said, over my dead body, I don't care what what you end up doing, but do not belong there. And it was this tug of war in my house constantly.
Oh, no.
Anyway, and then the 89 came and the rest is history. And anyway.
Yeah.
The winds of change.
I did in university in the 80s, I did study. We had a 5 ESS Lucent switch in our university, and I specialize in telecommunications and data transmission, and we studied that 5 ESS switch, and that was the most modern thing we had to put our hands on.
Wow, what a great story. And what's interesting,
fragments that are not really connected, but anyway.
No. I mean, that's sort of our mode of operations here is just mindless, disconnected conversation. But no, it's really interesting how folks who have had everything taken away from them, once they get transplanted somewhere else where there's opportunity, they flourish again, and those are great stories, right? And there was this gentleman that on LinkedIn who posted this thing about what do you call it? The chairman of Hyundai Corporation, his very, very, well, let's call it destitute beginnings, and how he became one of the richest, most powerful men in South Korea. And they're asking the question, well, can Americans ever be like that? And I was like, well, it depends. How hungry have you been? And I think that's one of the beautiful things about immigration is you bring a tremendous vigor and energy amongst these folks who usually, in many occasions, right, come from less fortunate circumstances or even desperate circumstances, and then I'm not saying all of them, but some of them become great people, and I think it's just what Rick posted recently. Was it Rick that posted that? Or it was a response that I put out to him. It's the adversity that builds our character, right? And then it's the adversity that, if we have the right character, we can do great things. And so, I think like what everyone goes through, the thing, it's like a test of character, especially like what we were talking about yesterday or last week about everyone now soul searching, in the latter parts of our careers. I think there's a lot of people doing that. And I think the early part is a test of character, and then you find direction. What do you have the courage to go forward with? And anyway, so speaking of just random directions of conversations and putting crap together, there you go. So let's talk about CES before our audience gets really hella bored. And Bill, you got to chime in. You have to explain why your ass was not there.
So, I mean, look, I was planning to be there, totally, had bought the ticket, had reservations and everything, but it's typical. I mean, at the end of the year, every city that I work with goes through the same thing. They're scrambling to get ready for the next year because they know that people are going to start disappearing at the end of the month. And then come the first of the year, they start pounding to get meetings on deck.
Oh, okay.
And one of the cities that I'm working with which is helping them establish their smart city strategy. They're doing a lot of things, but typical of almost every city, they're siloed. They're not sharing data inside. They don't have a supportive city council, and they're like, "Hey, we heard you can help." And so it is. As a matter of fact, I have to jump at the top of the hour to meet with them again. They're in the Bay Area. They are progressive, but this whole smart city thing, man, when people are talking about it and advertising it, there are only a handful of them that I've seen actually executing on it. So that was my reason. They said, we want to kick this off right now. We want, can you be there? And I'm like, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I did have my folks there running through, looking at it and reporting back to me about how many smart toilets they saw.
Oh, dude.
Even I know about those. Even go to CES.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you, man. It's like that whole, sniff your butt sensors to get healthcare data, man. I'm telling you. Know what?
Right now.
You know what? This guy, you can never be a doctor. That's the thing, Rob. You can never be a doctor. You can never.
That goes with agriculture, right? Fertilizer.
Yeah.
Urine analysis for early diabetes detection.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was. I mean, they were like sending me stuff, and I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean, it was like one after the other, and I'm like, how many of you are there?
Yeah.
When we hear so much about diabetes, and we think, okay, it's a done deal. People have diabetes, right? And more people have diabetes is because of the diet. Well, that's the way it is. Okay,
sugar.
There's medicine, there are findings, and so on. No, we should not settle for that. Right?
Yeah,
we should try to catch things early, and prevent having to take medicine.
Yeah,
well, IoT, we're going to find out early. We're going to nip it in the bud.
Exactly.
Everything,
dude. Okay. I mean, but that's exactly it. Rob, you always talk about, hey, let's, if you can't measure it, you can't. What is it? You can't manage it if you can't measure it, right? That's what you
can't improve it.
Did I just jack that whole thing up? Oh, I'm sorry, bro.
Peter Drucker is rolling over in his grave right now as you butcher a variation on his quote. Yes.
Okay, my apologies. But yeah, I mean, can you imagine? What do we have to do today? We have to go to make an appointment, go to the hospital. Or actually, you have to get an appointment or a referral to a lab from your physician. Then you have to go and schedule an appointment, go to the lab, get your blood drawn, or they send you a kit, you crap in a hat, and then you have to do all the nasty stuff and send that stuff back. It's ridiculous, right? But if you can have these sensors on your toilet or whatever, it could be the feet smelling thing. Is it feet smelling or is it the steps thing? The biometric, the socks that you were talking about last week. Yeah, if you're aware of potential condition that you might have or be developing based on, then you have a visibility to your health trend, right? And then you can adjust your behavior accordingly. Work with your doctor or your physical therapist. That's a great example.
When you and I were at the Blues Wireless booth at CES, they were showcasing their customers who were using their tech, right? Which is always a good way to do it. Instead of just pitching your product over and over, let your customers sell your product. And no doubt about it, one of them, they showed the soles of the shoes with embedded stuff in it, and temperature readings, I probably confused it with another booth for all I know, but I know what
Well, you're plugging Blues Wireless.
It might have been someone else's booth, but we're going to go with it.
I was sitting here wondering, what does Blue Wireless do? It doesn't sound familiar, but hey.
Blues Wireless.
I wasn't.
Blues Wireless is there to try to, I'd say for a certain group of people doing IoT, they're going to reduce friction. So, you've got your IoT devices and it could be whatever connectivity, blah, 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 and you got to go into your platform. So what these guys at Blues do, that's Mobeen Khan that we, from AT&T, Ray Ozzie is the CEO. We spent a lot of time with a lot of people. So this little guy here is this little board they give you. Look at the bottom. Oh, that looks like a cellular module, doesn't it? So you have that, and you plug it into this thing, and they have a bunch of these different kind of carrier board type things. Notice the Ignian antenna here. Our good friends that we will see again at IoT Stars in Barcelona soon. Anyway, you pop it in here. What they do is they're shortcutting a lot of steps. Like if you were doing a cellular IoT device, you actually have to get it certified by the government, which can be over $1 million to do that, just the whole certification process. These guys, it's all JSON, and you use JSON to program it, to get it going. It's super simple. And then it acts like a data pump. And so normally you have an SDK, that's a software development kit, kids. And you would write code on your device to send it to your IoT platform, whichever one you're picking, to do identity, security, and kind of bundle, serialize that data from all the sensors and send it on its way, like as JSON or something. Well, these guys short circuit that, they automatically do all that stuff for you. So all the steps, the security, the encryption, pumping the sensor data, they send it to their cloud, but they're not interested in being in that game. It's more like a data pump, and it's kind of a way station. And so they have a secure tunnel, the data goes there, and then you have an option as a customer. You can either poll to get the data. They have webhooks that will automatically shoot the data at your IoT platform. And they've also got some pre-built integrations with some IoT platforms. So the data kind of goes up and then goes into your platform, maybe through the side door instead of the front door. Anyway, if there's 100 steps to take to get your IoT stuff going, they just removed, 50 or 60 or 70 of those steps.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
I sound like a sales.
You still have to go through some level of certification, carrier certification, right?
It's already done. And
done.
Kind of like, and on the data.
Wait a minute. Back up for a second. Help me understand that, because
they already did it.
If you got module level certification, I get it. When you put it on a carrier board, that carrier board has what? What certifications does the carrier board have?
Apparently they have multiple boards to choose from, and they're all certified. So this thing can be by itself, but they have a Raspberry Pi Hat version. They've got Shield versions for Arduino. They've got stuff to work with ESPs 32s. You can obviously go online and check it out, but they've already done all that stuff. So it really is, you don't have to worry about all that certification stuff. They have different sizes.
I'll take a look because I'm interested in that end of it, because granted, I think it's awesome if you can reduce the friction to the point, because the whole type certification, carrier certification, all of that stuff is painful and time consuming and keeps people from innovating.
It is. And so what you get, I would also say it's kind of a combination, like if you're familiar with Once, which, came out of Deutsche Telekom, they made a lot of buzz in the market, for the IoT SIM deal when they said, here's a single plan. I don't know what was it, like $10 up front and you get 10 years of data. I think it was like 500 meg or something like that. NB-IoT or LTE-M, global, that kind of thing. You just pay one time and then you're good to go instead of hitting you every month. So Blues, it's a combination of that and the hardware. The plan, like when you buy this from them, and they have full kits. They also have a LoRaWAN kit as well, which I can talk about. But the data is included in the price of this. And so you buy the hardware, the prices of hardware is coming down. We talked about that, Leonard and I, when we were talking about the booth. They're just saying that the price of all this gear is dropping and dropping and dropping.
Yeah.
So the 10 years of data is included. And so you could just, and so the funny story from 2022, as Leonard and I have shared, was me trying to get one of these things to work. I was trying to find good signal to get it bootstrapped the first time, on cellular. And so was it, I don't know, last summer or something like that. I was literally parked in the parking lot of a Walmart. I had this thing sitting on the dashboard of my car, where I could see the light and see the cellular. And then I've got my laptop or maybe an iPad or something on cellular. And I'm in LinkedIn chatting with Marc Poos, and we're troubleshooting, and he's still telling me the right commands to send to this thing through the terminal. Oh, here's another cool thing. You probably didn't know this. Did you know there's the ability to do a terminal inside a Chrome browser?
Oh, yeah.
It's a thing. I didn't know that. And so that's how Blues Wireless gets you started. And so, you get your device and you kind of get your USB your connector to your laptop, and then you bring it up in Chrome and you go to their webpage and all of a sudden it connects. And then here's the cheat sheet of JSON commands to send to it. There's no AT commands or weird stuff like that. You just send JSON. And anyway, it's global, it's NB-IoT, it's LTE-M, or you can do just Cat-M, normal LTE.
I'm gonna go get some, and I'm gonna play around with it.
Yeah.
I think it's a great, quick way to get a whole lot of stuff to market fast.
We can do an introduction.
Customers now who are using.
I'm sorry?
Who are their customers? Some of their customers who are using this.
They showed industrial customers. They showed. I'm trying to remember I think they had like 4 different customers. They showed an industrial refrigeration customer was there.
Okay.
There was 4 of them there. But we'll definitely need to have Mobeen on.
Yeah.
I'll check them out.
They'll come on, Jim.
Yeah,
but hey,
talk to them about it.
Bill, before you drop, dude, so what did you guys see? I mean, you had eyes and ears on the ground. So, obviously you're looking at like robotic toilets and stuff like that. But what were you looking for, and what did you guys uncover?
I just wanted them to find me unique stuff that is, people doing things. 2023 has to be about the year of getting shit done. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it has to be. It has to be. So I asked them specifically, go find me companies that have value propositions for digital twins. Go find me companies that have real use cases and are solving real problems. So that's why they were like one of the biggest things was the toilets. The robotic stuff and everything like that, to be honest with you, I think it's still got a long way to go.
Yeah.
There's still a huge proliferation and confusion around ML and AI. And what that means, they're still conflating the story. Yeah. So we're still seeing a lot of that, and that's what we saw. There was interestingly enough, there was a lot of good stuff going on with the automotive industry and the software for infotainment entertainment and things of that nature. So they saw that. There's a inflection point where I think that the digital twin and this automotive stuff is gonna tie together. Because if you really want to do the VX type stuff, you're going to need that. And it's not so much on the infotainment side, it's really on the analytics of the vehicle, talking to infrastructure on the corridors and on the freeways and everything.
Yeah, you got to watch I'm going to do a little bit on CV to X. I covered a little bit on a couple of the vignettes that I posted. So I'm doing all these little movies and stuff. But yeah, I took that Qualcomm CV to X tour, and we can talk offline, man.
Yeah, we should.
That's cool. That's really, really interesting. No, I mean, but the thing is that a lot of these things have not come together. And so, that's the cool thing about going to CES. You see whole different domains coming together that need to come together to solve a bigger problem like smart cities. And it's so fragmented and disconnected and people talking past each other. And I think, it's the thing that we always do on this show is, well, at least I try to do, is I try to clarify our language. The semantics are so twisted that people are not communicating. They can't communicate because we don't have enough time to explain ourselves, right? And so, somehow over time, we need to settle on certain semantics and concepts that can help forward the conversation. And, the folks who are going to get to solutions first are going to be the ones who can actually talk to each other. And so that's why words matter tremendously. Do you know what I'm saying? And, one of the things that I think is really detrimental is when we overload stuff to the point where they're meaningless, and I saw so much of that. It's disgusting, it literally
trying to be the one throat to choke. Stop it. And I got to drop, but I'll catch up with everyone.
Okay. All right. Go work.
Hola, Marc.
Get a real job.
That's it.
Oh my God.
Saving it one city at a time.
Yeah, there you go.
Time. I love it.
Yes. All right. Hey, Marc, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going? I'm getting off the Christmas and back to work.
I thought it was a nice tea for.
This is a really nice tree.
I thought it was a
Raspberry Pi hat.
Yeah,
Where's
okay.
I love it.
Where's the TO?
The TO is in the forest again.
Back in the forest. Yeah.
Went with Mother Nature.
Yes.
And it will come back next year.
This year, last year's TO oddly looks very familiar and similar to the previous year's TO. So is it like the same TO that comes back, or?
No, come on. This is like if you say that the flower that flourishes on your rose is the same as the previous one. That's not true. Come on.
You realize that we have that TO on video, right? I mean, we do this.
It was a different one.
A different one. You got to believe. You need to believe, Leonard.
Exactly.
I know. Okay. Yes. My dad dressed up as Santa Claus is Santa Claus. Okay. Got it.
Shut down the show again. Just shut it down. You know what? Why don't you just go ahead and ruin Christmas for kids? Thanks, Leonard.
Exactly.
Well, no, that's why when I post these videos, I explicitly tag that this is not for kids. And I just assume anyone above the age of 18 has learned the secret, So
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what secret you're referring to.
Okay. Yes. Santa Claus has a transwarp sled.
Maybe he means that Santa Claus was green and then Coca-Cola paid a lot of money to convert it to red. That's a secret, right?
Really?
Remember, it's that Christmas spirit. If we're singing enough, then we'll create enough Christmas spirit cheer to power his sleigh, right?
Hey, why don't we go back to CES?
Yes, we will. Eventually it comes around. No, so Andreea, you weren't there. Marc, you weren't there. Do you guys have any questions? Is there anything that you're curious about?
The big question is, why was I not there? That's the
why weren't you there?
Because you guys haven't told me you were going. This is how it works, right? If you had told me you were going, I would have prepared for it. But you guys ahead of time.
Come on.
We go every year. Weren't you sick last week? Are you feeling better?
I am better. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
One of those colds that just keeps on giving.
Oh yeah.
You're better. You're better, and then all of a sudden, boom! Oh, something happened. The cold is back. Yeah. No, I couldn't have been there. There's no doubt. Yeah. But obviously, I'm quite interested in healthcare aspects, and I was also LinkedIn a variety of things. And but anything you saw that
you know what we saw everywhere that was remarkable is that everybody is making a car. Every company, everybody who's not in the automotive industry, they had a car there.
And then what's the addressable market for that?
Sony.
1 trillion people. Yes. Qualcomm had a car. Bosch. Sony had a car. I mean, all kinds of companies that you would not think of. They all had some kind of car at their booth, some futuristic looking car.
Yeah, the most simple device to produce, right?
Yes, it is. The car is simple. It's like a Raspberry Pi hat. You just pop your top onto the body, onto the chassis, and boom, you're gone. That's it.
Yeah.
There you go. There's your car. Just throw wheels on it.
There you go. Well, you know what? You think about it. When you think about doing it at scale, like what General Motors has done, is they have a standard chassis with a standardized battery, and they're going to put like 10 or 15 different cars' bodies on top of that to create the illusion that we've got 15 new EV cars, by 2025.
I think I know what happened. I think all of these companies hired the same innovation consulting firm, asked the same question: what can we show at CES? And they were so smart to say, you should have a car. And then they designed 10 different cars.
And in fact, the consulting firm, the innovation agency, just used DALL-E 2 to create the car designs.
Oh my God! Oh geez.
Easy.
So Bob's your uncle. There you have it. So yes, that was overwhelming. The number of cars there. Obviously, it was cool to see a nice Bugatti as well, Veyron. But lots of high-tech cars from lots of companies. Dodge Ram had a good-looking truck. That's the thing, is we were all so excited a few years ago when we first saw the Cybertruck, and we're still waiting for it to come out. In the meantime, Ford F-150 Lightning has already come out. It got Truck of the Year, and then this new Ram pickup truck looks gorgeous. So Elon needs to get his butt in gear and get that Cybertruck out the door, because there's a lot of cowboys and cowgirls out there that need a pickup truck that looks like it's from Mars.
The problem is that he released a prototype, right? He put a prototype on production. That was very innovative, but it's a prototype. It cannot get any certification, right?
We'll find out. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Other vehicles I thought were interesting. I went to John Deere's booth, and they had a giant sprayer, the arms going across, it was huge. But the cool thing had to do with about the planting part. They're using some great tech. As they put the seed in, they put the exact amount of fertilizer right on top of the seed as it's going in at high speed. And so they were going to reduce the amount of fertilizer used by 60%.
That's super cool.
When planting seeds. So it's really interesting because, as I've spent time doing this ag tech stuff, there's the stuff where John Deere lives, which is row crops, corn, soybean, wheat, all those things where you use giant tractors, combines, stuff like that. The place where I was playing in is specialty crops. That would be orchards, of different types, things that don't move around, things aren't growing that you mow down. They're things that stay there the whole time. And so the sensors are fixed over time. Then you got ornamentals that almost look like they're being, which you might buy at a nursery or Home Depot or Lowe's. And those are done, I don't want to say they're totally in a greenhouse, but they are kind of covered and it almost looks like a factory. And so John Deere plays a big role, certainly in the row crop space. But it's interesting.
But what you say is that you have to spend several millions of dollars on this super big track just to save 60% of the fertilizers.
You hit it. You sound like a smart guy. You figured it out.
Yeah, but no one buys these things. They lease them or they rent them usually. You know.
Think about where was the first time you heard the word co-op? The farmers co-op. They share them.
Yeah, they share the assets, right? I mean, it's always been a smart model.
They're so expensive. You're right. A single farmer can't afford to buy those.
Yeah, that's why whenever you drive through like agricultural areas, especially in the US, you see these like equipment depots, right? That are renting out like these massive machines. Yeah.
And this is just like when we talk about the sharing economy in Uber or high availability. Remember when we started talking about you might buy a car, but you're only using it 1 or 2 hours a day. What are you doing the rest of the time? Can you make it available and make money on it? It's the same thing with agricultural equipment. They don't use them all the time. They plant and they park them and they harvest.
But it doesn't make sense to plant all the year, right?
That's right.
Yeah. But
you're not going to plant on winter or on summer.
Right. And so you don't need them all the time. And that's why it's better to share.
Yeah.
But the savings are not necessarily in terms of dollars, right? But in terms of what you put in the ground and how you grow the crops and how healthy they are, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, there's that aspect. Yeah. I mean, I think as we start to look, they start to look at making agriculture more resilient, then you want more visibility to what you're growing, the environment that it's growing in. So I think those are the other things. I mean, I think there's a lot of focus on the thing that you do maybe like 2 or 3 days out of the year versus the rest of the time that your stuff is growing, where something can happen that can ruin all of the crops, and, you see that in the wine industry all the time, or even in, where grapes are very, very sensitive, right? And the wine growers and the winemakers are super sensitive, right? Because they pick up on all the nuances of how a row of grapes has been growing through the course of that season. So having this visibility to the condition of the vineyard is super important. But that goes beyond just like planting the stuff or harvesting,
Yeah, I mean, our good friend Scott Waller over at Thingy and 5G Open Innovation Lab, obviously his whole business was all these fires we have every summer, and the smoke taint affecting the grapes, and some winemakers have had to just throw out all their wine because it was really obvious when you tasted it. And so that's a lot of money down the drain, right?
Yeah. Or, they usually sell that crap to somebody else and then they make Ripple out of it or something. You know what I'm saying? Or $5 chuck. There is no $2 chuck anymore.
Right.
It's all Shaw. It's like $5. It's like, holy crap. It's like, it's.
I think we should tour some wineries. IoT Coffee.
Yes. IoT. Let's go. No, we'll do it in Barcelona. No, we'll go up toward the what's that area right north of the Spanish coast. It goes into southern France. There's that one area, I forgot the name of it. They have like some really fantastic beautiful wineries. So set it up, Marc.
You mean Empordà or Costa Brava or?
I don't know.
I've said it for
it. Yeah.
Marc's going to put us on a train, and we're going to go there, and we'll go see we're going to go see the sleeping vines in the wintertime.
There you go.
Yeah, let's do that. I've toured Rioja in September, so but let's do it the right way, IoT Coffee Talk way.
Yeah, exactly.
IoT wine talk.
Exactly, the wine talk.
We'll be the IoT coffee. We'll be the IoT winos.
Winos, yeah. Durable. Let's go to
IoT Vinos.
I love that.
The problem is that Leonard is always pressing to have blackberry mojitos. I don't know if you instead of wine. So I'm not sure if this is because of blackberry.
Oh, geez.
Cream or what?
What? What was that?
For the BlackBerry phones? I don't know.
Yeah.
Marc, I think I got another sponsor for IoT Stars.
Which one?
That's a company in Australia that I'm working for part-time. They're called Caliper with a K.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Anyway, they're going to have like 4 of their folks come over from Australia for MWC. And so I was on a call with them yesterday, and they talked about maybe wanting to be a sponsor.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Get their logo on the IoT Stars webpage.
Yeah, so let me share something with you about our show that I think Rob and I both found out once again is, man, people get a lot out of the show. You should hear some of the feedback that we get. It's like crazy. So encouraging, given that, we kind of jump on here with no idea what we're really going to be talking about other than maybe a general topic. Yeah.
I have an idea. So one of the ideas is that during the reception of the people, because we will be 5 minutes walking from a Mobile World Congress venue.
Okay.
So we can doing the reception of the people, we can be doing an IoT coffee talk there live with connected people. So we will have like a really nice equipment on the
cool.
the IoT Stars. So we can do that. People have beers, listen us, tell us shit or not.
Yeah.
And then
we'll have beers too.
Stars.
Yeah. And then we'll
of course, beer or wine.
Wine, yeah. Absolutely. No, I think that's great. I think it's a great way for people to be coming in and seeing us up on stage, sitting there being ridiculous.
And they be nerds.
We'll provide alcohol-induced responses. How's that?
Yeah.
But you know what? People don't realize the genesis of the show is really because we couldn't make it to IoT Stars MWC 2020.
Yeah, exactly. That's
seriously, right?
Because CES happened, right? CES 2020.
Yeah.
It existed, right?
Yeah.
It was not canceled.
No,
it existed. Yeah.
Well, like what Rob was saying, that was probably like the ultimate super spreader event. Yeah, big time. Yeah.
And it's also the genesis of the show is Abacab.
What?
Oh, nobody got it. Never mind.
Avatar?
Okay.
I guess you guys aren't into music. Never mind.
No, I didn't get. What did you say? I couldn't hear what you said. ABBA?
I said the genesis of the show is Abacab.
Cab is in Cabernet.
Abacab? You mean ABBA, the music group?
ABBA Cabernet?
Oh my God! It turns out you actually don't know anything about music or bands. You've been faking the whole time. So,
this guy.
Have you ever heard of a band called Genesis?
Yes.
Yeah. Of course.
Have you ever heard of an album they made and a song called Abacab in the 80s?
No.
No.
Hum it.
Is it anywhere?
Oh yeah. Okay, I just didn't know the name of the song, dude. It's like it's my that other song, Auld Lang Syne.
It's not
of 80s music. I know the song. I just don't know the title of that song.
All right, I'm going to find a picture.
Oh God. I just want to point out to our audience that Rob looks like Sergeant Slaughter. If you ever watch pro wrestling back was it the 80s or the 90s? Yeah, they had this really tall dude named Sergeant Slaughter, and I think that's the look Rob is going for.
So there's the album cover. It's a little
yeah. I remember seeing that on Tower Records. It's just that back then we didn't have streaming, and you had to invest selectively, and you only listen to stuff that your friends listen to.
Let's all try to go to a Tower Records today.
Yes.
One tier coming down.
Music Plus.
Of course, you had Justin Timberlake being Sean Parker in Social Network. He's like, yeah, go try to find a Tower Records.
You know what? During this Christmas, I watched on the Netflix show, The Playlist. Not sure if you watch it.
I did. Spotify?
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, but and it's super interesting to learn the story of Spotify, but as well, it was super interesting to learn from a point of view as a startup. It's like it demonstrates clearly that you have to be at the right time, with the right technology, with the right people, with the right partners, with the right money. If you have all of these, then you can succeed as Spotify did. But if you don't have any one of these, maybe.
Yeah. Because remember, their biggest concern was Pirate Bay. Because everybody was downloading everything. Actually, you could just go download the whole internet from Pirate Bay.
Yeah. Spotify's amazing.
Yeah, Pirate Bay. Then you had Napster with Sean Parker.
Yeah.
MP3s of everything for free, and so there was that
quality. But yes,
would anybody pay for this stuff, right? And remember, Steve Jobs spent a lot of time convincing music companies to pay 99 cents per song. It was an interesting time.
Yeah.
So Spotify navigated very well. They didn't have a path without obstacles, right? They just navigated really well. I mean, it's what Marc said, right? A lot of things came together, but it's been many years since then, and they've been navigating really well.
Yeah. And it's interesting that with video, the story is different, right? And folks tend to... Huh? Oh yeah, it is. Because if you think about it, Netflix had to become they're really a studio with digital distribution, but people thought that they're a streaming company, whatever the friggin' hell that means.
We didn't even use that word back then.
Huh?
We didn't use that term back then.
Yeah, they own content. They have to produce content, and that's the trouble that Disney got into. They created too much content, and they have to somehow break even on subscriptions, but then they have to constantly pump out. Now they're pumping out, I would argue less than quality content around some really premium brands.
Trust me, there's so much extra content now flooded.
So much junk. Yeah.
I am pretty sure that we could have our video show on Netflix. I think the bar has fallen low enough.
Oh yeah.
Just call them up. We're over with the show and say, "Can we have coffee talk?"
Yeah. Well, yeah. So
it could happen. It could happen.
Yeah, it could. So, hey, Marc, is there anything that you were curious about CES this year?
No, I follow your videos and your posts from.
Oh, okay. So you know everything. Yes, that's how it usually is after you read my stuff.
What? But oops, I thought you fall down or something.
No, I'm laughing at myself.
Am I the only one who watch your stuff? Or?
No, there's a lot of people do. They just don't acknowledge that they do until they meet me. Huh?
Leonard watches it too.
Yeah, I watch it too because I have to remind myself. I'm so forgetful these days.
You guys haven't answered my question about healthcare.
Oh,
is that because you didn't go there?
It's all over the place.
Cars all the time. They were visiting cars.
No. I looked at healthcare. There's a lot. Most of it is like software cloud based still. there are a lot of devices, but a lot of niche stuff. There still needs to be a lot of consolidation. But what's really cool is this whole thesis from 2017 has kind of come about. It's like everything is kind of connected. The thing is back in 2007, even in 2017, I said, yeah, you can connect everything, but what's valuable to connect and make smart. And that consolidation, I think, is going to happen at some point. And we'll see. But a lot of healthcare related stuff, not as much fitness, which kind of surprised me. But that might just be because fitness companies didn't show up as much as they did in prior years, right?
What did we see?
Huh?
Go ahead, Rob.
What did we see down in Eureka Park this time, Leonard?
A crap ton of South Korean companies.
Yeah.
I mean, like literally 70%. And of course, CTA disses, South Korea. I mean, it's like, how can they not show up on your list of innovation champions? I'm sorry. It's like, even the Koreans are like going, wow, there's a lot of Koreans.
Yeah.
And then, friggin' CTA gives them the middle finger. It's like, who did you put up there? What countries? Are you serious? It's like, what criteria are you using? Yeah. But they don't know. Here's the thing. They have, if you walked around Eureka Park and you bumped into something that was really cool, something that potentially will matter, 9 times out of 10, it was a Korean company. And to say that to discount them at the show and not recognize that is just really, it's hilarious. Because then you go and you look at the other innovations, it's like, what the friggin' hell is this? But the stuff that's essential, like micro LEDs.
So for our audience that doesn't know what this is, when you're at the back of the Venetian, what we used to call the Sands area expo hall, you got kind of 2 levels. You have a big expo level, and Lenovo is certainly camped out at the Venetian, but then you go downstairs into the basement.
Yeah.
It's like, and in fact, I would say the stuff you see in the Venetian is where you're going to see more of the bleeding edge startup stuff, which may be more interesting to you. When you're in the big giant halls at the Las Vegas Convention Center, it's very easy to get jaded to say, I already saw this on the web. They already announced this. This is nothing new. It's all the giant companies. You go to the Venetian, you see more startups. And so that's where you'll stumble upon things that are way more interesting. And then you go downstairs into what they call this area, Eureka Park. And it is the even more bleeding edge early stage startups where you may stumble upon total genius. We also stumbled upon the most ridiculous, stupid stuff we've ever seen in our lives.
AI.
Like the AI fembot.
Oh my God. The shill is on, folks.
Yeah. We saw some stupid stuff down there too. But you know what? God love them. They're trying. They're throwing stuff at the wall.
They're flinging feces against the wall, the wall of innovation, and then they're trying to see if it sticks.
What?
Trust me, that's going to be the saying of this century.
Mannequin talking to you. It was
that thing was creepy. Yeah,
it was creepy.
I was like, okay, it's like you trying to go for sexy or like bringing terrifying people.
What was interesting is when I'm in Eureka Park, you know who was there in force? The U.S. government and military.
Yeah.
I went to the Department of Defense, obviously Small Business Administration, where you can get SBA loans, things like that if you're a startup. They were there in force. The Navy was there. And since I'm a Navy guy, I talked to them a lot. And what's interesting, maybe you don't have your own startup idea, but the Navy and other parts of the military, they actually have a list of innovations that they are looking for.
Yeah.
They will fund you just to prototype or the feasibility for some scenario. they might give you over $100,000 for that. And then you go to the next stage to create another, and they'll give you another $100,000. It's pretty interesting because there's a lot.
This is a public program, or it's like a secret?
It is public. Yeah.
Okay. So anyone can apply, actually. Well, anyone, U.S. citizen or U.S. company, right?
It might be that. I'll check. I get all the information about it. But yeah, they've got a lot of nodes, and they don't have enough people and enough tech to do it on their own, and so they're looking to startups, and that's smart.
Yeah.
Where do we? I mean, we all know this. The most innovation typically comes from startups that you've never heard of.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's not gonna. I mean, it's just like really lightweight stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
But like I said, I bumped into some of these companies, like the South Korean company that does some micro LEDs. I was at a analyst roundtable. I was sitting right next to Hugo Schwartz, who is the Qualcomm XR metaverse guy, and the thing that came out of his mouth about how what's keeping us from realizing these consumer viable AR glasses is micro LED. Everyone promises it, but they've never really realized it. Yeah, it's like, and then I bumped into it, and it's like, holy crap! And so, I'm doing an introduction, but you know what I'm saying? You bump. There's some serious, like you said, Rob. There's some serious stuff, but it's like weird. It's so you walk into that hall, it's like, oh my God, how am I gonna get through this? Yeah. So I remember my methodology. You just resign to the fact that you are not going to see. You wander. You literally wander, and it's an exercise in serendipity, right? Right, Rob? And then
the right time,
like
the
some
right
cool
place,
shit.
the right people.
Yeah, I mean, but serendipity is a powerful thing because you that example I just gave you. I was like, how the hell did those two dots connect like that? It's crazy. And there were a lot of others, which was really cool. And I only spent maybe about an hour and a half in Eureka Park. I wanted to spend more time, but I had to.
And I think we project forward from our experience there 4 years from now at MWC.
Yeah.
Which is also my favorite place to be. And you wander and you go talk to all these young startups because that's where the magic happens, I think, It's really cool. It's my favorite part of Mobile World Congress by far.
Are you all going to MWC now?
Yeah, I'm going. He's going to be there. You should go if you can go. It would be fun.
It's late.
Yeah.
Late to book everything, isn't it?
No.
You will not believe this. You'll never believe how I'm flying there. I'm not going to be lying flat in business class, but I will be flying on Aer Lingus through Ireland.
Through Ireland, yeah.
I was so surprised. They've got a direct flight from Seattle to Dublin. And then Dublin to Barcelona. And so I'm flying Aer Lingus. It was like $800 round trip. It was so much cheaper.
Oh, my God. But you know what? You have to think a lot of Apple employees probably use that flight because they have a...
Oh, true. Yeah.
Right? Can't be all that bad, Rob.
You mean all the American companies that have offices in Ireland?
Ireland. Yeah.
Ireland's the ultimate tax haven.
Yeah. Think about it. Yeah. Okay, so
play the game.
So,
one last thing. What? Right. I got to give props to Greg Kahn and his whole digital organization. You talked about the metaverse, Web3. Had an amazing dinner that he put on.
But I couldn't ask my question.
You could ask your question.
Go ahead. Go.
No. So yeah, it's just a 1 minute answer. It's today I was replying a message from Afzal from IoT Creator saying that NB-IoT was dead. Well, is dead, not was dead. Did you see a lot of NB-IoT on CES?
Yeah. There's this area in the whatever North Hall had a lot of the wireless SIM kind of MVNO IoT SIM companies, and every one of them, it was either NB-IoT or LTE-M, that kind of thing was the deal. And so whether it's big players like Once or Blues Wireless, I saw, what is it, Simcom, they were all there together. And so I wouldn't necessarily say they were going out of their way to talk about NB-IoT. It was just like, we got SIMs. We got to play.
Yeah. Yeah, I spent a little time with the Nordic semiconductor guys, and they mentioned NB-IoT. But again, at the moment, it's more like, here, we have options. More than, they didn't necessarily call out, anything else in particular. They just said, look, whatever you need, we can support it, type of thing.
Yeah, but did they talk about cost of modules?
They said that the supply is getting better. And so pricing is starting. What you heard a lot of people talk about is how things are going to get cheaper. The chips are going to get cheaper, which is weird. I to hear it from folks and having them really point it out as being something that you can anticipate. Right now, at least. But I think a lot of folks are thinking that pricing will go down. And
is that a forecast? Is that a forecast or a prediction?
No, that's an observation. It's more of an observation.
In fact, if you want to find that, Leonard and I put up a new website. It's called cheapchips.com.
I will check it out.
Go check it out. You can buy your chips right there. Just click. Put it in your shop.
Well, it might be good news for you, Marc, because I know that you always talk about how it's really, the chip shortage still impacts you guys in Europe. But that was one of the things that I heard that it kind of shocked me. I was like, what the F, But hey, this is running really late. So we got to jump off before we bore the crap out of everyone, even on Spotify. Yeah, and I got to go to work. I really do. Yes, what? I got to do my business. So, hey, Sergeant Slaughter, why don't you take us out, because you're doing that whole cosplay thing. So,
well, all right. This is Rip from Yellowstone, and I'm so glad that you partners decided to join us on IoT Coffee Talk, where you heard all kinds of stuff today about CES in Las Vegas, where you lose all your money. And so you can find us at www.iotcoffeetalk.com on the YouTubes, or you can listen to us on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, and on Google Podcasts, and many others that you have never heard of. Don't make me angry, though, because I will take you to the train station. And you know what happens when you go to the train station. So thank you so much, and we are out.
Good. Damn dukes. All right, Roscoe. We'll see you next week.
Bye. See you next week.